I'm Nita Singh, and I've worked as a math and science middle school teacher in the United States since 2011. Currently, I'm co-director of Subject to Climate. Our goal is to enhance climate knowledge and inspire action by making climate change teaching and learning accessible to all. Equipping more educators to teach about climate change and inspiring climate action is an untapped yet powerful lever for change. When you get onto our website, you'll find free, credible, engaging resources that have been vetted by both scientists and teachers. Last school year, I taught seventh grade math, and in the United States, we're required to teach specific math standards. So I decided to integrate the math standards within the climate change context. For example, fractions are very tough for my students to understand. So I placed it in the context of food justice. My students had to learn about our food systems and analyze it using their knowledge of percentages and fractions. They learned how to calculate the percentage of deforested land for industrial agriculture use and convert it into a fraction. What's amazing about putting math in a climate change context is that there's real meaning for students so they can critically think about whole systems that run our everyday lives. You can see the real impact that it makes when you give students true motivation to learn. They ask questions, discover problems, and explore solutions. Students really begin to think about careers related to climate change and making the connection that they need to know math beyond passing a class. For example, I had a student tell me that math is absolutely useless for her because she wants to advocate for social justice, so she only has to focus on history and English, not math. So I opened this up for a class discussion and asked, well, how do you prove if something is just or not? What evidence do you use to argue for or against something? So she realized she needed to master math skills to be a strong social justice advocate. By teaching about an issue as multifaceted as climate change, we show students that problems and systems are interrelated. And to solve them effectively, it requires competencies across all disciplines. What really sets Subject to Climate apart is that we believe all teachers across all disciplines in every grade level should be teaching about climate change. So we have instructional materials for science teachers, but also for math, history, civics, art, English, and more. It's a platform for all of us because climate change is an all of us issue. So the question here is, how can we empower students in our classrooms and schools to have a real voice and an active role in this pressing issue for our future? Well, first, we have to start teaching about it. Over half of the teachers in the United States do not teach about climate change, and those who do spend an average of an hour and a half per school year. So first step, we all need to teach about climate change. But climate change is not a silo subject. It's not just about science. It's inherently complex, and teachers, including myself, feel overwhelmed to teach it, especially if you haven't had any training. Subject to Climate empowers teachers to teach about climate change using an easy to follow lesson plan with all teacher and student materials included. When our teachers feel empowered to teach, our students feel empowered to learn. And when they learn, they feel when something is not right. And this feeling of something's not right needs to be paired with the ability to take climate action. So we have to empower our teachers to teach about climate change. How do we do that? One way is to provide our teachers with high quality instructional material and lessen their burden of implementation. So when you get onto our platform, you'll see this, and you can search for resources across all disciplines and grade levels, but there's also this other tab called SCC lesson plans. So you click on that, and let's say you're an English language arts teacher and you're a bit nervous about crossing disciplinary boundaries. These SEC lessons are perfect entry points. Each lesson has 3 steps: inquire, investigate, and inspire. The inspire section empowers students to take climate action. Teachers teach students to educate their communities, to write letters to their political leaders, to design programs to reduce waste. The greatest challenge for me teaching about climate change, and honestly, even learning about climate change, is actually managing the emotions. Some years ago, we came together as an educational community and said that we needed to incorporate social emotional learning in order to prepare our students for the future. Well, I can't think of a larger social emotional issue than climate change. It's terrifying to fully comprehend climate change. And this is exactly why we need to teach it in every discipline. We need to model early on how to emotionally manage climate change so that students are not overpowered by the knowledge. They are empowered by the knowledge. My advice to all teachers out there is no matter where you are, what you're teaching, integrate climate change. You have the power to influence how students feel about the environment around them. Teach about what is happening in your homes, towns, cities, and countries. Observe locally about how climate change is impacting your environment, and share your lessons with us so we can help you share it with the world. Thank you.